At the outset, I would like to thank the organizers, GRABS Educational Charitable Trust and Tamil Nadu Association of Intellectuals and Faculty for organizing this particular national seminar on good academic research practices and inviting all of us here for this seminar and having a good interaction. I think after the COVID, we all have been static for 2 years, more than 2 years. We have all been, kept inside, indoors. And as previous speakers have given a lot of inputs, we have developed some other parts, other areas where we have not ventured. For example, how to use the computers, internets for teaching the students. So we have, after this COVID period, I think we have come back to the stream of conducting offline programs and teaching and other things. So I'm very happy to interact with all of you, meeting all of you. It is actually very good to meet people in person. So why it is very important? Because we meet, we get to know people, we interact with them. See, we have seen so many eminent speakers from different parts of India. Actually, throughout, it's a national seminar. So people have come down from Tamil Nadu, North, Karnataka, Kerala, and so many other places. So it is very good to interact, see the people. So for good academic research practice, it is very important. Not only do the research in a lab, but also to interact people. So by these kind of seminars and conferences, we learn many things. So it is not that everybody knows everything. So we are limited to one subject or one particular area. So it is always very important. See, we have learned about plagiarism and a new technology developed in the school and a lot of topics covered by other speakers who spoke before me. So today I am going to present concise the UGC guidelines about good academic research practices. So it is not, as the previous speakers said, it is not my own PPT. It is actually the guidelines from the UGC. So I gave credit to the UGC for presenting the work. So this is the UGC portrait. So research culture is not static. Okay, it is what we have, they have invented or discovered yesterday. It is not the same today. It keeps on changing. So there is a lot of things happening across the world with the time and space. So here we have all gathered here. We have professors, associate professors, assistant professors, scholars. So we get to know, we have to learn many things from each and everyone. So research is not something very limited to one person. We have to collaborate and then publish, and we have to exchange our research work in these kind of conferences and seminars. So over the years, research, many different institutions, UGC and other institutions in India and all across the world have designed and brought many guidelines. So here I am going to present the UGC guidelines. So it is very important to, these guidelines are very important to establish several protocols, codes of conduct, norms and principles. Why? To enhance that trust in the research institutions, funding agencies, producers, publishers and products. So this document gives information on good practices across the research life cycle for quality, impactful and ethical research. So that is what is very important. So what is the significance of following good academic research practices? So it is important to conduct quality research with integrity, not only doing the research work in the laboratory, but also publish it, inseminate. We have publish or perish. So that is very important. So we have to focus on for publishing the outcomes of the research in the high quality journals. So this will help in raising the benchmarks of research performance and enhancing not only the reputation of the individuals, but also the department and the organization as a whole. This also will reiterate the values underlying research integrity to help to create a culture of responsibility and quality research. So that is what is very important, quality research in the academic and research community. it is also very important to prepare the Indian academic research community to be at par with the international standards. So that is what is very important. So what is good academic research practice? So it is a general framework for enhancing research integrity by focusing on potential threats. So we have seen what are the different potential threats, and practice good research in our academic area. Practice good research at each and every stages of research cycle. So there are different stages. So starting from planning our research work, executing the research work, and disseminating the research work in public media as well as the journals. So it is very important to follow these research, good academic. See, we know many things. So all of us are known, we know about the guidelines, but we fail to practice, or we are at the different stages, whatever may be, whether it is a scholar or a researcher or a professor, we may tend to forget. So it is very important to keep reminding certain things. We have to keep reminding ourselves. So when we go and participate in gatherings and seminars and listen to people, so many inputs, we get many inputs which we can inculcate in our research life. So that is very important. It is required at every stage of the research cycle, right from the initial selection of the research problem through the dissemination of the research output to fellow researchers, decision makers. That is very important. So a speaker before he told me not to change the people, we have to change the system. So it is very important to reach it to the people in the decision making position and at the public at large. So what we are gathered here now. It is also very important to avoid research misconduct. So we would have many different ideas which may be correct or which may be wrong. So we have to overcome these mistakes, misconduct in terms of fabrication, falsification or plagiarism. What is a research design? So the speakers before me have told a lot of things. I am not going to go in detail. I am just brushing up because of want of time. So a good research practice begins with problem selection. So that is very important. What is the lacuna in the research? So particular problem selection is very important, and design a research work, plan a research design. So the proposed research should address questions, answers to which it will contribute new knowledge to the society, follow different protocols or modify the protocols, solve challenges, correct errors in the existing literature or develop new methods for conducting such research. A good research design involves having a well-documented plan. So that is very important. We should have a good literature survey, search and get the methodologies, and we have to document. We should have a right research plan to work out our research. So that is very important before starting our research work, so that we don't get stuck in the between. So it is a well-documented plan outlining the objectives, roles and responsibilities of the guide as well as the scholar. Good research practice builds upon the work of others. So we don't do any research on our own. It is not possible at all to do anything on our own. We cannot cook on our own. So similarly, we cannot do research simply by doing something on our own. We have to read literature, understand, acquire knowledge, find out what is the concept, and then only we can do research with the supporting literature, whatever is present. Okay, so that we can use it in our particular work, and we can modify them, and we can work upon it. But whatever we are doing, we have to properly acknowledge and cite the previous researchers. A good literature review is very important. It locates the proposed research in the broader research landscape, provides insights into identifying data sources and research methodology, and lays out a rigorous and systematic approach to analyzing and synthesizing the evidence to support the research claims. So it is very important to teach our students not to follow any shortcuts. So as a previous speaker said, we have to do a review article. First we can publish a review article, ask the students to go into the literature in detail and find out what is the existing data and what is the lacunae, and then we can ask them to proceed. So that is a very good research practice. Then first step is conducting research. So we have to do the literature survey, then conduct research and then disseminate. So what are the good practices of conducting a research? So first important one is good documentation. So wherever we are starting, from the first day onwards, we should have an observation notebook or any kind of notebook, put a date and document each and every thoughts, ideas and methodologies and whatever we are working out. So this observation will help you in the long run. So maybe when you will reach a stage during publication where they'll ask you, where is your original observation, where is your data? So we should not, we cannot fabricate it. So we should be well aware of this particular fact, that we have to maintain a proper document in the form of observation or lab note or something. That is very, very important. Research journals or field notes, whatever, to track the research. This record of process and procedures include data, sources, quality, storage and retrieval of the document, which will avoid the misconduct. Then, as the first speaker said, avoid plagiarism. So that is very important, and maintain research integrity. So these are the facts of, points or stages of doing a proper research. Dissemination. So what is dissemination? Finally, whatever we have done, we have to publish it. We have to explain what we have done to a committee or to a seminar or conference, or publish it, and we can also patent the required documents. So this is very, very important. It should be published in a peer-reviewed and high-quality journals. So, and contributions of all collaborators, funders, reviewers should be acknowledged properly. So the research cannot be done by one person. So a person sitting in a small lab, he can do wonders. But if he thinks that I cannot do anything, I don't have any facility, I have very small facility, I have a small room, I have a small computer, you are wasting your time. You have to really reach out to people, collaborate with people. So nowadays, one particular area of science subject cannot do, we cannot do research. It should be a collaborative work. It should involve computer, biology, botany, physics, chemistry, maths, everything put together. So this is how we can do a research. So we should collaborate, seek help from others. So that is very important. We should not think, we should not feel shy, or we should not feel inferior in seeking help from others. So we have to seek help, we have to collaborate and then get to know. Should not think I know too much or I don't know anything. That is also wrong. So both are two extremes. So we have to understand our situation, and we have to get a helping hand from others and do the research. So this is what is called as deliberation. So research management and training in every institution. I am very happy that the previous speaker, Dr. Mary from Trichy, she told they are encouraged for every publication, and they have a good support. So many institutions lack this. So the institutional support is very, very important to see the progress of each and every stage of research for the student as well as the researcher. So that is so there should be an office of research integrity in every institution. So this will provide support structure for creating and sustaining a culture of honesty and ethical research practice, to monitor, mentor the research practice at every stage. So each ORI should develop guidelines. Each institution should have their own guidelines, process and procedures for dealing with suspected and actual research and misconduct of research. So institution-wide research management system can effectively manage, track and report on research activities and outcomes. So sometimes we may not be at the same mindset all the time. We may have some family issues, we may be down sometimes, we may be high-spirited sometimes. So each and every moment, if there is some kind of encouragement, some kind of push, some kind of monitoring, some kind of mentoring, it will definitely be very helpful for the researchers, whether it is a young mind or a senior level researcher, whatever it is. So supervising research and mentoring junior scholars and students, and inculcating good research practices to the junior students, scholars, are very, very important. So this can happen with the research, that is Office of Research Integrity. So this research integrity is vital for science to thrive, otherwise it will perish. So the values articulated here can form a sound foundation for a research culture that emphasizes integrity in the daily practice of every researcher. So what is the integrity of research enterprise? It will rest on honesty and trust. So we should be honest to ourselves so that everybody can trust us. So according to US National Institute of Health, research integrity includes use of honest and verifiable methods in proposing, performing and evaluating research. So we are getting the methodology from other previous literature. So those methodologies should be reproducible, should be used by others, and it should be reproducible to get the similar kind of results. So that is very important. It should be honest and verifiable and reproducible. Reporting research results with particular attention to adhering the rules, regulations and guidelines of a particular institution is very, very important. Following commonly accepted professional codes, it should accept the follow a professional code or norms. So what are the steps to be followed for good academic research? You should understand the values underlying research integrity. There should be a good framework for a good academic research practice. There should be an institutional research program management and mentoring the next generation. So these are the values: ethics, rigor, relevance, transparency, impartiality, independence, respect, accountability. These are the values which are present in the research integrity, which are required for the research integrity. So the framework for good academic practice follows the following steps. First one is research design, you all know. Conduct of research, then research dissemination. So these three steps are very important for a good academic practice. So what is a research design? First you should plan. So planning, describe the research objective and rationale, find the lacunae, develop a project plan and allot the roles and responsibilities to the required persons, ensure the viability, whether it is feasible, whether we have the required source, required funding, chemicals or whatever is required for the research. Keep abreast with it. Don't do the old practice. We have to, that's what they say. We have articles or papers which are very old, before 2000 is not relevant. What is the latest research for the past 10 years? So that is to be taken into consideration. So keep abreast with the recent relevant regulatory, ethical, organizational guidelines. Seek requisite license and approvals. We have to do animal work, we have to seek license. Animal ethical permission. Human work, we have to get ethical permission from the Human Rights Committee. And the research questions, we have to ask questions and document the research. So it should be clear with sufficient specificity so that it is understandable, focus to ensure feasibility, concise, brief but comprehensive, nuance, that is nuality, with a research design that matches the complexity of the problem being addressed, logical to ensure that the available evidence supports the research claims. So these are very important. So then, as I told you, we should not keep it to ourselves. We should, even we are writing a paper, it is actually very good practice to give it to others. Maybe people who are not relevant, non-science person, or your husband or a wife, or any other person, they can go through it. Whatever things we are not able to find out, they will be able to find out the mistakes and do some corrections in the process of your research work. So consultation with experts are very, very important throughout the stage, whatever may be the stage. So don't hesitate. Okay, just feel free to consult. So actually we are having these kind of limitations. We feel inferior. Sometimes we feel inferior and we don't ask questions, we don't go to others. And understanding of relevant theories and available data records. So we have to thoroughly understand the literature, update our knowledge, and then only you have to go into it. Then understanding of the relevant literature. So what is a literature review? First we have to frame research questions. We have to ask questions. So right from the small age, we should encourage people who ask questions. So if a student comes and asks you, don't shun him away. So you try to address his issue or try to solve the problem. Or we have to read more and solve the problem. Consult relevant database and text for research, listing relevant keywords and phrases, ensuring search results are easily retrievable and traceable, organizing the work, revising the original research question if necessary. So this is a literature review. Whether it is information is reliable, it is error-free, factual, verifiable, or whether the professional credentials are there for the authors. Whether it is published in plagiarized journals. Does the author have the subject matter expertise? Whether the information is relevant, or whether there is any facts and opinions, whether it is biased, or whether the information is current or old, and other things have to be understood very well. So what are data research methods and analytical approach? So this is the choice of research techniques defensible, for instance, supported by the existing literature. So these methods should be very well analyzed and then taken into our research work. So then we have to proceed for conducting our research. So we have to execute the research, document it and store it in a proper form so that it can be easily retrievable when we are in the process of publication. So what data were collected and when they were recorded. Did the research involve an experiment where the data collected at different levels of analysis, where the data on the population or a subsample, the subsampler was used, what were the sampling procedures, representative of the study population. So these kind of questions should be very well planned and executed. Then we have to check for the plagiarism. Plagiarism, which includes fabrication, making up data, cooking up data, falsification, manipulating the data, plagiarism, copying someone else's research ideas and redoing it as our own. So as the previous speakers have mentioned, we should avoid that. So as stated by Harkov, the following basic practices should be observed. In general, a person using another author's text, they should be properly cited, or they should be properly considered. And intellectual property should be appropriately attributed to the original owner. Researchers should neither submit previously published research without proper attribution. He should not even submit his own self-citation also should be avoided in many cases. So conference presentation may be regarded as published material and cited appropriately. So these are some of the ways, points to be remembered during publication. Then as I told, collaboration and authorship is very important. So collaborating with interdepartmental, we are lacking. So we are talking about collaboration, we are talking about collaborating with international researchers, but we fail to collaborate with our own peers, our own department colleagues, or interdepartmental colleagues, or inter-university campus colleagues. So that is very important. We can do that. It is much more feasible in taking the sample to a lab which is in the same state or same place, rather than collaborating with foreign collaborators. So collaboration is very important. Without collaboration, the research is not possible at this stage. So nowadays, the research in science is not limited to one subject area. It is a collaborative research work. When we want to bring the product or the research from the lab to the bedside or lab to the application side, we have to definitely find some collaborative work and do the research. Otherwise, it is not, the latest research is not very appropriate. So collaboration is very important. And authorship. So give the correct credentials for the authors. So sometimes because he is a friend or he is a mentor or some relation, you cannot give the credential as an authorship. We have to properly give the authorship to the suitable person, and maybe you would have seen in some in some articles, they would have properly mentioned what is the role of a particular author. It will be clearly mentioned in certain high refereed journals. So that is very important. Giving the correct credentials to collaborative authors and authorship is very, very important. So intellectual property. If there is any intellectual, new findings involved, so as the previous speaker has said, it is very important to file a patent or a trademark, copyrights and other forms should be it should be practiced. It's a very simple process, as you all know, but many of us are failing to do that. So this we have to bring it into practice in the present day research world. So the proper assignment of intellectual property and preservation of these rights are very, very important. Otherwise, another person will easily come and take your copy, your work, and they will say it as their own. So assigning intellectual property rights to the extent possible to the stakeholders at the start of the project. So when we are designing a project, so when we know that you will get an outcome within 1 year, you can actually publish it in that is patent the work, and then you can complete your work, and then you can do your research. Later publish it in a journal. That is very important. So dissemination. So dissemination, sharing your research in the conference and publishing is very important. That is how you disseminate your work. And for this, criteria for journal selection is very important. There is a lot of journals, that is what do you say, false journals are there. So you have to correctly choose your journal. The journal has a journal, we have to analyze the journal. Go to the home page and go to the instructions and find out whether the journal has published when it has been started. Okay, what is the archive, on what kind of articles they have published, whether it is suitable with our own research area. So all this should be analyzed. What are the journal's submission requirements, whether they get, we have to pay more, or whether it is open access, closed. So what is the journal's intended audience, impact factor, rank, whether there is a peer review process, or whether there is any black mark in the journal. So this we have to analyze. So some of the some common factors for rejecting a manuscript will be as follows. Manuscript content does not conform to the scope of the journal. The style is not followed according to the journal instructions. Duplication or plagiarism, insignificant results, or improper rationale of the study, superficial treatment of the subject, poorly designed methods, preliminary results tend to be speculative interpretation, lack of clarity in writing. All this will tend to, rejection of your journal. So, translation of research. So, we have been talking about good research conduct and other things. So, whatever research we are planning, we are trying to do, we should plan it in a way that it goes and reaches to the common public. So that is very, very important. Why are we doing the research? So that is very important, whether it is useful to the humankind. So, this can be useful maybe in a few years, or it may take 5 years or 10 years. So whatever it is, whether it is a small application or a larger application, it should cater to the need of the people who are going to use it. So that is very important. Taking the research from the lab to the bedside or to the industry. So that is very, very important. So the previous speaker has told about the collaboration in the industry. It is not only the academic people, we have to collaborate only with academic people, we have to collaborate with the industry people. So many of the academicians, we don't know about the working style, the need of the industry. We are not directly in touch with the recipients, with the common people. Only the industry people are in direct contact with the consumers. So they know what is the need of the consumer, and they know what is the research problem. So it is very important to be in touch, collaborate with the industry people to enhance our research and give a very good research advice or research remedy for any particular issue. So that is very important. So translation of research is very important. Institutional support. So as I told you, every institution should support the researchers, whether it is in the scholarly level or the professor level. So this will help in the mentorship program, collaborative network, and so the institutional research program management, there should be an office of research integrity. It will govern the guidelines. It can offer training, conduct conferences, faculty development programs, conflict of interest. So the conflict of interest. So whenever we are doing a research, it is very, very important to avoid a potential conflict of interest related to maybe funding or any other related area. It is very, very important. Mentoring the next generation. So that is good advisors. So we have to engage with the students in preparing a research project, make the student aware of the ethical practice guidelines, guide students to the institutional rules and regulations, provide academic advice including specific guidance on how to conform the norms and expectation of the academic field, support students in developing their career, give constructive and critical assessment, ensure timely feedback, preferably in writing, assist students with non-academic issues also if necessary, engage external expert help if we are not an expertise in the subject area. All these are very important. Students also have the responsibility in research. They should know what it means to be a scholar in good standing with respect to the rules and regulations. They should abide by the rules and regulations of an institution, be systematic, and nowadays it is very difficult to find students who are systematic, they are very lethargic, especially after the COVID period, post-COVID. Students have become very, very lethargic, and it is very difficult to extract work from them. So be systematic, rigorous in the conduct of research, carefully plan and execute research protocol, diligently maintain accurate research records, documentation. Again, I am emphasizing on this. Seek advice of senior faculty or researchers regarding the ethical questions, and practice disseminate findings in a timely manner. So timely manner, whether it is in the form of review articles or conferences, we have to disseminate the findings. Present the findings in an unbiased, ethical manner in accordance with the highest standards of research integrity. So these are the roles of the students. So in conclusion, so it is like the following good academic research practices, no? It is, we have to be honest. Okay, we should not, think of anything else. We ourselves should be honest and trustworthy. It is like going in a traffic, whether we are riding a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler. We have to abide by the rules and follow the signals, and sometimes what will happen, the lorry or the bus drivers, they may escape, but we may get caught. Okay, so it is very important that we have to be honest and trustworthy. It is very important for the researchers, and proper acknowledgement of contributions. So unfortunately, self-regulation does not always work. Sometimes, at times, we may be down, or we may be up. Self-regulation or updating ourselves is maybe there is a lacuna. So it does not always work. So that is why regular training, seminars, workshops are essential for updating our knowledge. So the ORI must also have systems for research management to provide institutional support. So values articulated here can form a sound foundation for a research culture and emphasize integrity in the daily practice of every scientist. So that is very important. So this is the guidelines given by the UGC. Thank you for your patient listening. I once again thank the organizers for having me here. Thank you.